Welcome back to the F1 2017 career mode. We're in Mexico, and for those of you that saw last time out, the drag upgrade failed. Well, I invested the resource points, and the drag upgrade is here and fitted to the car, and there's no more fitting round after Italy to get any kind of straight line assistance than the Mexican Grand Prix, because it's insane. Just the speed you are hitting turn 1 at, the revs on the engine. This circuit, I'm surprised it's not known as some kind of engine breaker, because you've got the massive straight at turn 1, then you've got a second massive straight. The middle sector is insanely high speed. I mean, it's very satisfying to find the balance of one of these Formula 1 cars and a good setup, and just throw it through these high speed corners and have the confidence that it's going to stick. And then, of course, we just have this really awesome stadium section to finish up the lap, where, as we see, you know, on the final lap of the Grand Prix, there's just, you know, all the fireworks and love from the fans. But anyway, enough about the circuit and how much I enjoy it. Let's get into qualifying, as we have our first lap here, charging down the main straight. And we're already up to over 200 miles an hour, over 12,000 RPM. The gearbox is not going to enjoy this as we build. Can we hit 210? No, 208 as we brake at the 100-meter board. Bring it in nicely in turn 1. We've got to just hit the curbs with as much speed as possible while trying to scrub off as little speed as possible. Hamilton sets the fastest lap on the 19.4. We are coming up with a first sector split, and we have got an insane amount of speed there. The only thing being is I made the car very skinny. I put the downforce very low. Any kind of straight line work is fantastic. This car, through any kind of technical low speed corners, we're going to lose a boatload of time. So you can see it here, Alonso with a 19.3. Alonso on pace as well. Is the McLaren a dark horse for this race with all of our engine upgrades and our drag upgrades here? Now, Sainz is going to be in our way as we come into the final sector, so I can't actually commit into the right-hander whatsoever. I've had to bump the engine down there, because I think, obviously, I'm not too sure why I did that, looking at it in hindsight there. But we're going to come round one more, hit the inside curve. That's actually impacted my traction, so it's not been an excellent final sector for us. We're going to come across the line, and it is provisional fastest on an 18.7. But couldn't attack really that much on the final sector. Nonetheless, I was very happy with the lap. I could have gone out again, but to be honest, I didn't really want to. It has obviously meant that Vettel and Bottas went ahead of us there, so they're 1-2. We line up third, incredibly, and Alonso is 6th. So this is looking pretty good for the McLaren team as a whole. Obviously, the Sauber's at the back, and Esteban Ocon not able to set a time. Not too sure what happened to him in qualifying, if I'm honest, but not actually able to set, like I say, set a time there. So we can't pull off the one stop due to the aspect that we have to start on the tyres that we qualified on, due to being within the top 10. So we are going to be starting on the ultra soft tyre and running a 2-stop strategy: ultras, supers, supers. It's going to be about eking out the tyre wear in this first stint, ideally as much as possible, and then from there just managing the super softs. Realistically, I think over 1 lap pace the car appeared to perform here for whatever reason. You know, for me to out-qualify Alonso is a rarity, as we've seen over this career mode, but I don't know if we're going to be able to translate that to full-on race pace. But let's see how that works out. 5 lights at Mexico. Lights are out, and away we go for the Mexican Grand Prix of Season 2. Hamilton has had a tremendous launch off the line. We're going to go behind him straight away, get a double helping of slipstream off of both the Mercedes cars. Hamilton's going to eventually pull out there, so we're going to move across, go into the slipstream of Sebastian Vettel. It's going to be nearly 3 wide. Hamilton comes across, we go round the outside fully. That means we've got a compromised inside line for turn 2. Contact between myself and Lewis Hamilton there, and you can see in the rearview mirror the Mercedes cars have gone out. One of them, if not both of them, on the grass. I'm not too sure entirely what happened on that section there. I know that I was the car with the front wheel ahead, and there wasn't a lot of room on that inside line. Vettel leads, of course, as we go into the race. We are up to 2nd, and it's been an absolute disaster for the Mercedes team. Let's get a replay of the start before we settle into this Grand Prix here. So Hamilton got off like a rocket ship. We got the double helping of tow, because why wouldn't we? At this point, we are clear 4 ahead of everyone else. We pull into the slipstream of Vettel. Hamilton darts across in the braking zone. The track was narrowing anyway. We've gone round the outside of him, inside of turn 2. We were 3 wide. Bottas was already on the grass at this point, and then he's managed to straighten up. Hamilton's gone right out of turn 3, and he's collided with his teammate there, Valtteri Bottas. Let's get an onboard perspective of this. From the Mercedes of Hamilton, just look at the excellent launch. You already can't see us anymore coming off the line. He's looking to the right of Bottas to maybe go for the inside line. Then he thinks better of it and goes to the left. As we get towards turn 1, we see we've gone to the outside line. Hamilton comes across right there, very dangerously. He's already collided with Bottas. He's got inside there, leaves us the room. We're now ahead. Hamilton was already part on the grass. Bottas was already on the right of him anyway, so Hamilton couldn't go any more right. Could have gone left to leave the room for Bottas, but we were there. So I will say Hamilton appeared to be very stuck and was the middle car in the sandwich, as it were. So that was unfortunate, and it does appear to have actually been worse for the guy who started above everyone that was involved in the collision, one Valtteri Bottas. We're going to see his perspective of it here as we're charging down. Vettel, obviously, clearly with the car's length advantage as we go into turn 1. He was about the same time on the brakes as Sebastian. Sebastian came across. There's the contact from Hamilton. Bottas already upset with it, and he's just way offline. Hamilton originally hit him. The tyres got together, and you see Hamilton here just get put across. How Hamilton was able to straighten that out, I have no idea. But both Mercedes down at the back of the field, which, I mean, should make for an interesting Grand Prix for both of them to come charging back through. So, you know, from a driver's point of view, I can understand they would be pissed. From a spectator's point of view, it's going to be very interesting. Now comes start of lap 4. Vettel has kind of disappeared into the distance. We are now battling the Ferrari of Kimi Räikkönen into turn 1 in a straight line. Hold it around the outside. He wasn't able to get fully down the inside of myself there. We're going to obviously clunk across the curbs. Perez has closed up nicely in the braking zone, but is there going to be anything into the second chicane? No, there isn't. We now do a big cut, a long cut to the end of lap 9 because nothing happened. If I'm honest, absolutely nothing happens. Vettel in, he's fit the super soft tyres. He's also going to be on that 2-stop strategy, same as us. We're coming in to make our first of 2 pit stops. McLaren boys, don't be a slow stop. 2.3 for the actual stop and the car going down, but I forgot stupidly to engage the clutch, so that cost me a bit of time in the pits. There's a pass of Grosjean right in front of us down in 20th, so I'm not too sure what's happened to him. He's clearly had a bit of a miserable Grand Prix. We actually come out just behind the 2 Sauber cars. I don't even think with my clutch problem off the pit stop I would have got out ahead of them. But anyway, we completely lunged it down the inside of a very unaware Marcus Ericsson into turn 1, thinking thank you very much, not going to lose any time. Grosjean moves out of the way. We get a lovely bit of slipstream here off Pascal Wehrlein, who looks to go to defend, but it's already a little bit late for him. Into the second chicane. That is us up into 14th place. Dispatch both Sauber cars. We don't want to be losing any time to them. By the end of lap 10, Bottas is in for his first pit stop. He was up to 12th by that point of the Grand Prix. Loads of cars are actually coming out the pit lane just now, including a very important one as we're in the slipstream of Carlos Sainz. That is Kimi Räikkönen, comes out right alongside us, and we pull across and keep our position ahead of him, and we charge past Carlos Sainz. We've managed to put a car between us and the Ferrari, and that should hopefully mean that Räikkönen is going to be a bit more held up, and therefore the gap isn't going to be too great between us. By the middle of lap 11 though, Räikkönen has already dispatched of the Toro Rosso, so I need to get another car between us as soon as possible. So we're in the slipstream of Kevin Magnussen, setting a purple middle sector as we go into the final sector, lunge it down the inside. The car slid through the corner nicely, but Vettel is so far in the lead at this point on an 18.8. Our then next best lap is a 19.6 as we come to finish lap 12. And interestingly enough, I want to point this out just here. Vettel's 14.5 seconds ahead of us. He's gone. Second place is Esteban Ocon. The guy that didn't manage to qualify is running in second place. That's allowed Ocon to start on the super soft tyre. It's now lap 16 of the Mexican Grand Prix. And you know what? I'm willing to bet my house that he's going to pull that one stop. So technically, we've both got one pit stop left to make in this race, and Ocon's running P2. Anyway, we're defending from Kimi Räikkönen through the first sector of the Grand Prix, taking a bit of an interesting line through the second corner, bouncing across the curb. And just as I predicted, end of lap 16, Ocon pits. If he's going on to anything else other than the soft compound tyre, it's a complete waste of an opportunity, because I don't know what he's done, what kind of pace he's done in that first stint, but it's clearly been excellent to get that high. Anyway, Räikkönen just doesn't have the top end speed to pull ahead of us. He gets very close with DRS and all. We leave him the room. Obviously, he's actually done very well to still be alongside us going into the second part of the chicane. Left him the room, and Raikkonen has forced his way up into second place. We're not going to let that slide as we pull into his slipstream. He's still got DRS, as it's a double DRS zone, but we've got enough straight line speed to keep alongside him. We lunge it down the inside of the second chicane and then keep it to the right so he can't squirt the throttle and get back on the inside. So we've managed to retain P2 there. Raikkonen's running another set of ultra soft tyres. I hadn't quite realised that actually. So is Kimi doing a two-stop with an extended stint on the super soft tyre? And then lap 18, midway point of the Grand Prix, you just saw it there, Sebastian Vettel has retired from the Grand Prix, going through the second chicane, just pulls off, no plume of smoke, nothing. It's the second race in a row that Vettel has been comfortably leading. You hear it there, car just cuts out, no smoke, so I can't say engine, got to be some kind of electrical maybe? You can see his car there just on the side of the road. Sebastian Vettel has had to retire from another Grand Prix that was probably a guaranteed victory. What that means now is we are now defending the lead of the Grand Prix against Perez and Raikkonen, who were then up to complete antics trying to get past me into turn 1. We were so vulnerable. All the cars decided to fit ultra softs at the middle point of the Grand Prix. That did then mean that they pit before me. So I obviously had to try and do what I could on my additional laps. So I believe I'm coming in early at this point. I can't quite recall off the top of my head. I basically had to react to them. So we're coming in for another set of super soft tyres that are going to have to do a couple of extra laps than our middle set did. That has meant the Mercedes now, still on that two-stop, have now pulled into the lead. I believe it's now Hamilton and Bottas, P1 and 2. They still have pit stops to make. Hamilton made one that lap, so Bottas has gone ahead. Here comes Sergio Perez, who's managed to get ahead of Kimi Raikkonen during the pit stop phases. Perez takes the net lead of the Mexican Grand Prix. So we've potentially there got a Mexican in the Force India going to win the Mexican Grand Prix. We're not going to let that happen whatsoever. We're on fresher tyres than Perez. His are up to speed, but we know we can perform in a straight line. So let's go and get him. We sit in the slipstream up to the second chicane. I'm not going to make a ridiculous dive bomb move. I know I have been seen to, but that's if I'm confident I can make the move stick. And I'll be honest, I couldn't do so. So we have to wait for our opportunity. We're still with him in the stadium section, as we were very strong compared to the Force India through the middle sector. Perez had superior traction, and to be honest, so did the AI out of the final corner. They're just so much better than us. Danny Rick sets the fastest lap time, and he's directly behind us on the road, so that's something to be scared of. But now, we had DRS going down the main straight. Perez didn't, and just look at the closing speed in comparison. Now I'm getting a tiny hint of slipstream into turn 1. That means we've carried a hell of a lot more speed through turn 1. If we can carry more speed through this chicane, Perez is going to be vulnerable into turn 2. We've got DRS against him now. Fernando Alonso pulls into the lead of the Grand Prix, but I believe he's still got a pit stop to make. Can we make a move against Perez? Yes, we can. That dive bomb had to wait a couple of laps, but that was the lap I was confident to make the move, and we can lunge it down the inside on lap 24 at the second chicane. That is us up into the net lead of the Grand Prix. Fernando Alonso makes his pit stop at the end of lap 25. I think he's extended that super soft stint, so he's going to drop down into the lower part of the top 10. And as mentioned earlier on in the Grand Prix, we've got 11 laps remaining. Esteban Ocon leads on his soft tyres. He's going to the end of the Grand Prix on his one stop. We're under attack from Sergio Perez into turn 1. Just the straight line speed of the car actually being competitive now in Season 2 with all the engine upgrades, drag upgrades, the lot, weight reduction upgrades. Just, it's so nice to be able to fight in a straight line now. Anyway, we move to a few laps later and Ocon's tyres are falling off the cliff a little bit. So we have obviously had to push like mad, because if our tyres fall off the cliff, then Ocon's going to win by proxy here. But annoyingly enough, the best place to overtake in Mexico is turn 1. The corner where we are weak against every single other car on the circuit. Even a Sauber gets a better run. But thankfully out of that corner we've got Rich Mix, we've got DRS. Ocon is a sitting duck in a straight line. He moves slightly to the right defensively, but nothing too major. I think he realises that defending into turn 1 against me was going to only hurt him more than my race, because if that obviously moved to the inside, he might then be under attack from his teammate Sergio Perez, which he is now in the position to do so. But we've moved into the lead on lap 30 of 36. Now, Force India, realistically, if I was them, I'd be smart and get Ocon to release Perez, because he's the faster one. at this point in time, I would say. Saying that though, Ocon's got some pace in a straight line because obviously the low drag Mercedes power, and he screamed past me better than anyone else could for the whole Grand Prix, back into the lead, full car length and a bit ahead of me. Well, I'm not going to have that at all into turn one. Bit of wheel banging, granted, leaving the space of the second part, but he just doesn't have the grip in his tyres. I'm shutting the door on him out of turn 3, not allowing him to get past me on the acceleration. Perez is now going to pull side by side with his teammate. It's the Force Indias 2 and 3. I believe we've got a Mercedes in there as well in my mirror. I've got a bit of a train for the lead of the Grand Prix, it must be said. Perez did move ahead of Ocon, but then wasn't able to attack me. So, lap 36 out of 36 through the stadium section in Mexico. The fireworks, the confetti, the everything due to Vettel's retirement. We are going to come through and win our 4th race of the season in a McLaren Honda. It's road to glory.
Absolutely fantastic. It's a brilliant result. Well done.
Our drivers are making their way out for the podium celebrations, and it's going to be McLaren picking up the winner's trophy. Congratulations to the entire team for that fantastic performance.
So we win the Mexican Grand Prix due to a retirement from Sebastian Vettel. Checo Perez comes across the line in second, and Esteban Ocon's mammoth stint, mammoth one stop from 20th on the grid to 3rd. Raikkonen 4th, Hamilton gets back to 5th, Ricciardo 6th, Bottas 7th, Hülkenberg 8th, Magnussen 9th, and Alonso 10th to round out the top 10. So Mercedes recovered nicely, but Force India, what a drive for them. And thankfully, obviously, due to our good result over Kimi Raikkonen, we have now put ourselves back in 3rd place in the Drivers' Championship. 2-2-1 for us compared to the 2-8 to Raikkonen. And we've actually moved only 6 points behind Valtteri Bottas. A second is still on the cards. I mean, for us to beat the Mercedes car, it will be very difficult. Constructors, I think we're pretty much solidified against Red Bull now. I mean, obviously, if they got 1-2s... In fact, I don't even think if they got 1-2s and both of the McLarens didn't get points for the rest of the season, I don't even think they'd pass us. So, potential second in the Drivers' Championship and guaranteed 3rd in the Constructors. I'll take that as a good result for our second season at McLaren Honda, and it gives me very high hopes that some major upgrades over the winter is going to put the car in a very good position for a championship challenge in Season 3. I will obviously say we won this race. I don't think if Vettel hadn't retired, we would have been second today. But even then, that's a very strong result. Please do a like if you have enjoyed this video, and comment any feedback down below. Always looking to improve, always looking to generate the best possible content for you guys. And subscribe, enable them notifications for the content that comes to the channel. I will see you all next time.